Celtic's match against Aberdeen was called off just hours before kickoff, leaving fans furious. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain could be getting his Celtic medical today, and we've got major Europa League updates, including a massive ticket demand from Stuttgart fans. Plus, February's brutal fixture schedule has just been confirmed. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Celtic's Premiership clash with Aberdeen at Pittodrie was postponed on Wednesday evening with less than 4 hours' notice, and honestly, the frustration is completely justified. The decision came after a pitch inspection branded part of the surface unplayable following a prolonged spell of heavy rain, sleet and snow in the north of Scotland. While nobody's disputing that the weather has been absolutely relentless, it's the timing of the call that's got everyone talking. From a footballing perspective, this postponement was a real blow. Celtic were poised to use this midweek fixture to close the gap at the top of the table, with momentum building and pressure mounting above them. That opportunity was snatched away, not by results elsewhere, but by a decision that arrived deep into the afternoon. But for supporters, the impact was way more tangible. Fans had already started travelling from Glasgow and beyond, with many actually arriving in Aberdeen before news filtered through that the game was off. Accommodation, transport, time off work, and all the expense that comes with it, all of those factors made this late call especially frustrating. Celtic have now formally written to the SPFL seeking clarity on how the decision-making process unfolded and whether established procedures were actually followed. In a statement, the club said, "It is extremely regrettable that last night's match against Aberdeen was postponed, particularly at such a late stage. While we understand the decision, clearly we sympathise with our supporters, many of whom had begun making their journeys or had arrived in Aberdeen already. We have raised the matter with the SPFL to understand whether the SPFL pitch inspection protocol was followed correctly. In our view, there must be the ability to make earlier decisions on matches. We are very sorry that our fans have been inconvenienced in this way, and thank you sincerely for your support." The key issue isn't that the match was postponed, it's when. The first inspection reportedly didn't take place until around 4 p.m. Given the volume of rainfall over the past month and the known vulnerabilities of the Pittodrie surface in winter conditions, questions around monitoring and contingency planning are completely unavoidable. If a pitch is at risk due to sustained weather patterns, earlier checks should be routine rather than reactive. That's the core of Celtic's concern, and it's a reasonable one. Now for the main story, as Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain could undergo a Celtic medical today, according to reports. It's claimed Celtic are in advanced talks over a deal to sign the former Liverpool and Arsenal midfielder as a free transfer. We revealed last night that fresh talks had taken place and were progressing really well with Oxlade-Chamberlain, and Sky Sports have now suggested a medical could even go ahead on Thursday, which is today. Celtic face a race against time if they want to sign Oxlade-Chamberlain and include him in their Europa League squad for the knockout stages. The Parkhead club need to register their squad list with UEFA by midnight tonight. O'Neill is keen to add Oxlade-Chamberlain's experience to his options, saying, "He could play midfield for us easily. Is he one of those players who could go past players on the outside wide? I wouldn't be sure, but he could do a job." Further discussing Oxlade-Chamberlain, O'Neill said, "We were speaking to Oxlade-Chamberlain and I think he's training at Arsenal at this moment and Arsenal may even offer him a contract, I think. If that's the case, really great. At 32, I was astonished that he hadn't been picked up. He was talking about his difficulties out in Turkey, but someone of that sort of experience would have been great. May still happen because he is out of contract, but he will have a number of options, probably closer to home, but if that materialised, that would give us something." In other news, the games have been coming thick and fast for Celtic recently, as is always the case over the winter period. They now prepare to contest 6 games over 21 days throughout this gruelling February calendar. The Hoops are involved in all 3 competitions this month, including their Europa League playoff tie with Stuttgart. Before that, though, they're in domestic cup duty. With league duty the priority right now, squad rotation will likely come into play, meaning supporters will get a glimpse of new arrivals Junior Adamu, Joel Mvuka and Benjamin Arthur this month. They could feature as soon as Saturday. Martin O'Neill's side host Dundee in the Scottish Cup 5th round, a match that's generated interest perhaps more so because of the planned protest by fans. The match will be televised on Premier Sports with kick-off at 5:30 p.m. Attention quickly returns to the Premiership 4 days later, where the Hoops face Livingston at home. They recently announced Marvin Bartley as their new boss following David Martindale's move into a sporting director role. This match should be seen as a routine win given the West Lothian side are bottom and without a win in 23 games. A quick turnaround is on the cards, with a trip to Ayrshire then taking place. Neil McCann is the new boss at Kilmarnock and will no doubt make it a tough test on a commonly known tricky surface. It's then on to the Europa League on the 19th of February. The Hoops secured qualification to the playoff round thanks to a 4-2 home win over Utrecht to set up a two-legged tie with Stuttgart. They currently sit fourth in the Bundesliga and clearly aren't minnows. The first leg is at Celtic Park, giving us a chance at getting a positive result to take to Germany, but this will be as tough a test as any. Fans will be waiting to see who makes the team for this match, with the deadline to submit squads for the playoff tonight, which is Thursday the 5th of February. Only 3 of the 5 new arrivals can be added, giving O'Neill and his staff a clear selection dilemma. 2 will be left disappointed. In between the Europa League legs, Celtic host Hibs on Sunday, the 22nd of February. Martin O'Neill secured the win there in his penultimate match in charge in his first interim spell, but it wasn't easy. This will be the first time he's faced them at Celtic Park over both interim spells. Team selection will be key in this one, and hopefully no players will be ruled out injured following the Stuttgart first leg. 4 days after Easter Road, it's on to Germany for the decider. O'Neill's European record over his 2 interim spells is strong, with 2 wins in 4 games. That includes a landmark away victory over Feyenoord, their first European victory on the road since 2021. If he were to oversee progression, it would be the club's first knockout tie win since 2004. It's a horribly unwanted record that surely has to give way at some point. Surely. This is a month where the squad will be fully utilised, but managed carefully. O'Neill is no stranger to these types of situations and will look to balance things finely, with domestic success paramount. In other news, Celtic's progression to the Europa League playoff round was a welcome sight amid a turbulent season. They now face Stuttgart with thin hopes of shaking off the unwanted weight of winning a European knockout tie. Statistics ahead of the match show a sad but expected sight. The record under Martin O'Neill in this season's edition of the competition is solid. After a defeat to Midtjylland in Denmark, the team are now unbeaten in their last 3 under the Hoops legend. We'll pretend the Roma defeat under Wilfried Nancy in between didn't happen. The draw in Bologna was a hard-fought point in the end, especially given we were a man down for the majority. Throwing away a 2-goal lead is disappointing, but coming away with a point on the road in Europe proved valuable to securing qualification. Lastly, Celtic and Stuttgart are in discussions over increasing away allocations for their Europa League playoff tie after extraordinary demand from the German club's supporters. Stuttgart received around 30,000 applications in a single day after opening their ticket process for the first leg at Celtic Park. The scale of interest has pushed both clubs into talks about whether the standard allocation can be expanded. Under UEFA rules, away clubs are guaranteed a minimum of 5% of capacity. With Celtic Park and Stuttgart's MHP Arena both holding roughly 60,000, that would usually mean around 3,000 tickets for travelling fans. That is the baseline. This tie is already testing it. According to the Scottish Sun, Stuttgart have approached Celtic to explore whether a compromise can be reached that would see increased allocations for both legs. The idea is not a one-way concession, but a reciprocal agreement that benefits both sets of supporters. That's all the latest Celtic news for today. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. Hail, hail.